The other day when I made my video about how I was thinking about the cheesecakes and how I refused to pay so much for slices and I couldn't justify it because I don't value yada yada. As soon as I stopped recording, it's like I kind of stared into the horizon, and then I told myself that money is a topic that has come up a few times on the channel, but I honestly do not remember much of how I discussed it, except if I had, say, an unlimited budget, how would I invest it or manage it? And honestly, I don't even remember what I said because that was like 4 or 5 years ago. And while I tried to remember what it was that I could have said based on the mindset that I might have had back then, I genuinely do not remember shit of what I said there. And I think maybe what I did or didn't say revolves around the fact that when it comes to money, I don't like to step away from what I habitually do. I have my money that I have to set aside for bills. I have my money that I have to set aside for food. And even when I do spend money outside of habit, it is still to fulfill one of those things. So say food is the thing that I spent the most money of, but rent is the largest that I spend on one transaction. So I thought to myself, I guess I should journal about or discuss my relationship with money, because it's something that I find no matter how many years go by, I still behave the same way. Minus the fact that I may consider incorporating a new activity for the sake of experience and for the sake of feeling like I'm actually living a life and not just living a pattern of I do what I do to survive because I fear not being alive or the suffering that comes with my survival being under threat, like say hunger or not having a roof over my head, etc. So with that said, my relationship with money is extremely simple. It's a relationship that I didn't develop myself. It was more of a relationship that was more influenced into me more than me establishing those habits. The best way I can describe it is during my childhood. I don't want to say that I had a very restricted childhood, but it was a childhood in which pretty much everything ever, every decision made or to be made, it had an explanation. So when it comes to money, mom, anytime that she would reject a request of mine for her to get me something, like say, I would like this toy, even if she could afford it, she may say, I'm not gonna get it for you this time around. And then later down the line, she may explain, at that moment in time, I just wanted you to be comfortable with getting no as an answer. Or another time, it could have been something like, I had the money, but I didn't feel like I was comfortable spending it in that reason because there was something else looming on the horizon. Little things like that. It was like a very step-by-step guided type of thing. And I'm very grateful for that because now I can say that I grew up into being that person who analyzes things before making a major decision. But then there's that side of me that has a hard time coming up with things to do that go against that in the name of recreation. I always tell myself I don't have money for recreational activities. Even if I were to get a huge sum of money somehow, somewhere, getting things is not going to be a priority. Like say, any toy that I may want at the moment, it's just not gonna happen. What I will do is undoubtedly hold on to that and feel slightly more comfortable with the situation that I have right now. Because usually the way that I think of myself now is, okay, my money situation is tight, but I can survive within those circumstances without feeling the pinch. Like, oh my God, like I cannot buy this burger today because that means that tomorrow I may be falling behind on rent or my phone bill. Nothing like that. Nothing that extreme. That used to be me 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago. And then 4 years ago is when I started seeing that my situation started improving ever so slightly, every single year. And that's because that's when I started launching like my side hustle with the clothes that I have. And then for a little while, stuff was going pretty well with me in that regard. And then sometimes I have seasons in which that tanks a little bit. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's not giving me money, so I have to be careful so that I don't run the risk of going back to the times that I was living, because I have expenses that are going to exist that I'm not thinking about now because it's not the time. Like, say, eventually this car, given its age, is going to start needing investment in the aspect of parts that may need replacement and stuff, and car parts are always expensive. So am I in a financial situation in which I could comfortably spend something that may be unforeseen? I can foresee that something will happen that will need to be fixed, but am I prepared for whatever that may be? That's what I'm saying. So there's that side of me that no matter how much money I make, or how much money is, say, when it's my birthday or whatever, given to me, it's not like, oh my God, someone gave me $100 for my birthday, I'm gonna go crazy, and I don't know, however far $100 could take you, I'm gonna lose my mind and go to, I don't know, the beach or something, because now I have gas money and some money to maybe spend one night somewhere and this and that, and buy a dinner or a lunch while I'm out there, something like that. Like, I just cannot inspire myself to think that way, because I look at my life as I don't have room for recreational activities. I only have room to hold on to every single dime that I make, and the dime that I cannot hold on to is because it has to go somewhere else, like, say, rent, bills. Well, let me just sum it up by saying bills and repairs and my personal nutrition, of course. So, like, I guess my mentality is because I was growing up with not a whole lot. Like, sure, I had things and toys and certain electronics that at the time it was seen as I'm living the life of a middle class. In some people's eyes, I could have been up there, like, looked at as a rich kid because of the toys that I might have been able to have that mom had to plan for to get me. But there's that side of me that's like, I can only go for the things that are truly, truly, truly valuable. And what's valuable to me is the stuff that's essential. Like, is this going to ensure my survival? Is this going to, I don't know, save me in the future? Stuff like that. So if you guys ever wonder why it is that I always behave in that manner, it's because I have never had like a very secure financial situation. And given that I really don't have anyone backing me up, I'm thinking to myself, should something happen, what do I do? How am I going to face it? So I think that until I can hit a point when I can, maybe for the span of a year, spend mindlessly and see that it's not doing anything to me, maybe my relationship with money is never going to change. And even if I were to have like that 6-figure salary, even millionaires have budgets, and they have budgets for a reason. So me, even if I were to become someone who has a lot of money, to like live much better than what I live now, given my status, I feel super comfortable. But I know that there is such thing as living even more comfortable than that. But in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I'm already pretty comfortable. So why would I want to make myself more comfortabler if I don't need that? See what I mean? So that's the part. It's like, do I really need to pursue money beyond giving myself a safety net for myself because I'm alone? Or, I don't know, that side in my brain is just dead, because I have had so little during the course of my life that I'm comfortable that way. And I feel like if I were to try to change my lifestyle to where I incorporate new things, new activities, new possessions and stuff, I don't know how to handle that. Even if I could comfortably replace it, every time I get my hands on a new valuable, that's all I can think about. All I'm thinking about is, how am I going to protect this? How am I going to take care of this? Where did I leave it? Let me make sure that it doesn't get damaged or stolen or misplaced or whatever. Like, adding stress, I don't like that. And on top of that, it doesn't help that I've always been like that, a simplistic, relatively minimalist person. The only thing I'm not a minimalist on is clothes, and it's because I have a business with that. And then of course my personal hobby is leggings. Leggings are what I really, truly, genuinely like to collect. But even then, it's been a while since I've been purchasing such a thing. So see what I mean? Even the things that I enjoy, that are my hobbies and stuff, it's not like I'm wasting money like crazy on that stuff, because I feel like I already have everything that I need to make me feel fulfilled. So yeah, you guys, I still feel like I'm not satisfied with the way I described my relationship with money, because it's just extremely simple. Like, I feel like I like having what is necessary, but I understand the importance of having more, because life changes and everything has a cost. Even dying has a cost, and getting sick has a cost. And I'm in a vulnerable state where I'm one emergency away from my whole life falling apart, you know? But then there's that side of me that's like, I don't want to lose my soul, my mind, my life, sacrificing to pursue financial stability in the name of being able to resolve those emergencies. So what is the most responsible way of living? Is the most responsible way of living wasting my life away, being full-time, just having a lot of money until I'm like 50 years old, so that when I'm 50 or 60, like, my body is going to start charging me for those bad habits that I had, overworking myself? Or is the right way to get by with whatever's necessary and make sure that every decision that you make is the right decision, from everything from the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you exercise? Live absolutely balanced, critically balanced, make no mistakes, so that you can maintain yourself and maintain that lifestyle and have a life in which you don't feel time constraints and you're not really pressured. But you're one slight bad move away, or one piece of bad luck away from everything falling apart and being that way for a long time. I don't know what to tell you, but what I know I can tell you is that I'm not going to allow myself to be corrupted, because there's individuals I have met who I remember what they used to be when they had fewer responsibilities, but then the more responsibilities they added up, it's like I looked at them as sellouts. Like, you're suffering, and it's evident because I can see it physically. You're getting sick all the time, and you're stressed out in your face. It shows that you're not getting the proper rest and sleep, and not even I'm getting it, you know, and I'm supposed to be living a more lax life than you are. My relationship with money is a clash of values, and I feel like it's values that aren't promoted to have. But how can I exist when I genuinely feel that way? Like, money and the things that it can give me does not impress me. And there was someone who once criticized me by saying, the reason you don't know it is because you've never had it. And I'm like, maybe it's a good thing that I've never had it, because I don't need to discover the side of me that maybe money could corrupt. And the person who said this to me was someone who was traveling and buying a bunch of fancy shit, had more than one car and all that. And I'm like, to me, it looks like you did that more so that you have things to brag about. But I don't see you happy, because in the end, you did something stupid and it cost you everything that you had. And you haven't recovered from that. And it's been 5 years now. Is that what I have to be jealous of? Now, I'm not saying that if I have a lot of money suddenly, I'm going to be irresponsible, because I have proven to myself many, many, many times that no matter how ugly a situation gets, my principles remain the same. But see what I mean? It's like, how can I exist being this way when my surroundings don't really support me being that way? Because, say, the cost of living keeps increasing. So that means that even with my simplistic lifestyle, that's being threatened. So imagine if I had the ambition of wanting more, but with the cost of living becoming greater, living is my greatest value. I don't need to decorate it with more things on the side, fancy clothes, jewelry, and whatever it is that people value these days, electronics. See what I mean? So yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. What do you guys think? And I feel like there's a side of me that's like, I've always had old people thoughts as a young person, and I haven't really lived as a young person, because as a kid I was always that one kid who was very critical. I'm like, we did the homework, why haven't you picked it up? Like, as a kid, I just did not do the stupid things that kids do because they're kids. So when I hear stories of young people who get into trouble and it's just them being young, I'm like, when I was their age, I didn't do shit like that. So no, it's not a young person thing. It's about the kind of supervision that you had. So because my supervision when it comes to money, access to money and resources was like tight, then maybe that's just the way I'll always be. And yeah, I just cannot lose my mind exiting those areas. I will always spend money on food, but see what I mean? It's not like, oh, every day I gotta be going to Starbucks. Like, I definitely go at least once a week. But if I have to give it up because it's becoming too expensive for me, I will. And it's gonna be fine. But there's some people out there who, no matter what happens, they gotta have things the way they're used to. And I'm saying, that's not me. Well, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. And yeah, I hope that maybe one of you out there can clarify my thoughts, or maybe you understand my own thoughts better than I can present them, because this is something that I just never discussed, because I've never felt like the appropriate audience was in front of me. But there's that side of me now that's not as reserved as I used to be. So nowadays, I really like to share more about my inner, deeper thoughts, and my boundaries are not as high as they used to be. All in the name of learning.